Whoa!
Yay, yay, yay,
I
yay.
can hear you through my earbuds and everything.
Yay, yay, yay.
I'm sorry that you had surgery on your face and you're
Yeah, I
afraid
know, right?
to have the wound observed.
Okay, I don't know how people are doing this because this crap is hot. Oh, blah, blah. I think I've just melted. And of course, stressing out, oh my God, I can't connect. But it's all good now. Yay.
Yes, we made it work. We made it work. It's good to see you, my friend. It's been a month
Yeah, it
again.
has. It's good to see you. Of
We're
course,
here
we've
for,
we've talked, but
oh, this is KetovoreKast episode number 25.
nice.
Yeah.
Go us.
Hey, time flies when you can only get together once a month because you're too darn busy.
I know, right?
It's
That's a good
craziness.
thing. That's a good thing.
So, how are you enjoying your pandemic?
Oh, I'm having a great time. Can't you tell? I mean, I got my toilet paper, so
Oh, that's the
I'm good.
currency there,
Yeah.
dear.
So it's all good, I guess. No, actually, for me, I'm struggling a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. This social isolation BS is not for me. I've kind of come to find something out about myself that, I mean, I kind of knew to a degree, but whoo, doggy, I am definitely a social person and I have to have my human contact. This is not working for me and I'm over it. I'm over it, over it, over it, over it. Yeah. You?
I I have tools that you don't have. Um,
Yeah, I know about your tools.
it's been frustrating as all get out. In all honesty, at times it's been very frustrating,
Yeah.
especially seeing people so quick to cling to fear the way they have
Yeah.
been. That's
Yeah.
been very surprising. And the willingness of others to give up their freedom for safety was also very shocking to me.
Me
But
too.
I think, you know, and it's been a challenge because we haven't always, our meat buying routine got severely disrupted, as I'm sure yours did as well.
Actually, no. We're in Texas. Come on now.
Well, here in Northeast Florida, suddenly I walked into my Sam's Club and there's no meat on the
That's
counter,
terrible. Yeah.
or there's no bacon at all. None,
Yeah.
zero bacon.
That's crazy.
Things like that. It's been interesting. It's been frustrating, and it's taken a lot of time that we didn't used to have. Remember, one of the things we used to talk about with
Yeah.
Carnivore,
Straight to the meat.
shopping is a breeze, man. It's just five
Put, put,
minutes
put
you're
in the
in.
basket.
How fast can you heave the meat in there and get out the door after
Yeah.
you pay your way? But we've had to literally go on meat safaris.
Wow.
In
Yeah.
Jacksonville, which store are we going to try next?
Wow. Yeah. Luckily, we haven't really run into that. I mean, we had the issue with toilet paper, but I don't know what people were doing with their toilet paper, but we buy in the big packs, so we were fine for a while. And we came across some last week, the week before, so Bob got what he was allowed, and we're good to go. I mean, don't be coming to my house and stealing my toilet paper, though. No,
I cut
because
your head
we
off
got
with a roll of toilet
protection. Okay.
paper. In Texas, I killed him for the toilet paper. It was horrible.
And everybody be going, oh, okay, all
Yeah,
right, yeah.
we understand. We understand.
No jury's going to convict.
I do think, though, I know it's been stressful for a lot of people for different reasons,
Yeah.
and a lot of folks haven't had to live under one roof with their loved ones this many
Yeah.
hours in a row.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Holly's bragging because she's got a freezer full of beef thanks to their cow, and they'll have another
Nice,
one butchered
nice,
in June.
nice.
Enjoy. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
deal.
We have wild game, so venison, and wild hog and elk. So we're good too.
We have a freezer stocked full of bacon right now.
Get
Full.
stocked up on that bacon.
It is full, crammed full of bacon. Jason Art asked, "Do we like liver?" I only eat the meat I crave and can afford, and I have yet, in 21 months of being a carnivore, craved liver.
Me either. And have you not watched my videos where I've tried various forms of liver, including cod liver? I've even tried it raw. And let me just tell you, raw liver was the least revolting of all the ways I cooked it and all the different types of beef raw liver. Now, I'm not saying it was unenjoyable because it wasn't, but the texture was disgusting. But I mean, no, liver's gross to me. I don't want it. No, I don't eat it either. I've tried it. I've given, look at my videos on YouTube. You'll see I've given it an honest effort.
She
And
did.
I'm done. I'm just done. If I crave it, I'll eat it. But no, I don't like it. Nope. It's yuck, yuck, no.
Yeah, I haven't craved it, and in 21 months of carnivore, I haven't craved it 1 second. And no, I don't have to give liver a chance because I do
I
what works for
did.
me.
Look at my videos.
What works for me does not include liver at this time. Now, if I ever crave liver, I'll eat it. People will see pictures of it on my plate. I'm sure there'll be shock and dismay
I'll fall
initially.
over. Yeah.
But don't need it, don't crave it, not missing it in
Yeah,
any
so
way.
far I'm not feeling I'm lacking in anything. I mean, if I felt I was severely lacking and liver was a solution, I would find some kind of natural supplement. I mean, there's a lot of really good supplements out there that have liver in them, and you can take it like in a pill form. But I don't even feel like I'm missing anything. I don't. So I'm not worried about it. I mean, if I do have that issue, I would consider that, but I'm not eating it. I'm done with that. I mean, if I make it, like my family actually likes it, and I occasionally will make it for them. But I will try. I always try at least a bite just to see if maybe my taste has changed. Nope, nope, not so far. But I'll never say never.
I will say the same thing I've said since day one. When I crave it, I'll eat some, but not 1 minute before. But thanks for the question. And
Yes.
if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. We'll stop in the middle of what we're talking about to take a question. That's
For
kind
sure.
of why we enjoy this format so much, because we
Yeah,
like
it's
the
kind of fun.
interaction.
And gosh knows I need some interaction. Okay, so
Yes.
interact with us, please.
Bless her heart. I talked to
Oh,
Amber earlier a few days ago, and she talked for 40 minutes without breathing because she hadn't had anybody to vent to for like 3 or 4 weeks, and it was obviously wearing on her poor badly. Just,
yeah. Yeah.
but
I'm going nuts. I'm going to be honest. I'm going nuts. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. I don't like being told what to do. And I don't like not being able to go dancing on Friday and Saturdays. That really upsets me.
okay, somebody's asking, do we fast or do we eat as soon as we wake up? You go first, Amber, and then I'll
Okay.
follow along.
I don't intentionally fast. However, I don't eat until like 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I just eat twice a day. So if you want to call it fasting, fine, but I don't like set a clock. I don't, oh, I can't eat yet or anything like that. It's just when I'm hungry. When I get up, I'm not hungry, but I am hungry by about 12:30 or 1. So
I am usually up an hour before I get hungry in the morning. I wake up at 4 in the morning, and then by 5, I'm ready to start chewing through things and, furniture, meat.
you have 2 meals before I have my first
Well,
because you have them old man hours.
old man hours. Oh,
I can get away with saying that.
yeah. Go ahead. You
I
don't
know
want
my time is coming. I know.
you better be careful about, because there's
I
things this old
know.
man enjoys and can talk about freely, and you
Don't
don't
you?
want. Yeah,
You
see,
better not.
I
Okay, I
knew.
want interaction, but I
There
draw the
you
line
go.
there.
There you go.
I will
Very
draw the
good.
line.
I kind
I'll
of
put my
thought you
mask
might.
back on.
I thought you might. So we won't go
Yeah.
there at all. But my point is, I I'm starving by 5 a.m. and by 5:30 I've begun eating. It'll take me half an hour usually to feed the cats and set everything up, and start cooking. But that's how I do it. And then I only eat when I'm hungry. So I'm usually hungry around 5 a.m. and then again around 10:30, 11-ish. And then I'm not hungry again till.
Nuts. I froze.
Oh, you're still there, dear. I hear you. I see you. It's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Lady Keto Carnivore asks the question. Is it uncommon to stall on weight loss when starting carnivore despite a moderate calories deficit? Well, first off, Lady Keto Carnivore, thanks for the question, but we don't count calories. We don't measure calories. We don't try to be in a calorie deficit. We eat until we're not another bite full. Complete satiety. That's what you do. You don't starve yourself. You don't deny yourself nutrition. You eat when you're hungry, and when you're hungry, you eat to satiety. It is impossible to say what is common and uncommon with weight loss stalls when starting carnivore, because your body's all over the place. Your hormones are all over the place. That's why you need to give it 30 to 60 to 90 days to give your body a chance to fat adapt so that you can have an opportunity to heal like we have.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Amber.
I would have to say, honestly, I don't think it's all that uncommon for that to happen. But like Brett said, just give it a chance. And, you know, there's a lot of things that may need to be tweaked later. But when you're first transitioning, don't freak out about all that stuff, because your body is kind of adapting, and you just need to let it do its thing. And then if you're still stalled or you gained weight or whatever, then you can reevaluate. Maybe you need to drop the fat a little bit. Maybe you need to increase the lean meat a little bit. There's things you can do. Maybe you need to lay off the dairy, that kind of stuff. So just don't freak out too much about the transitional part of it, and let your body do its thing. And like Brett said, just eat when you're hungry. Stop when you're pretty good and full, to the point where you don't really want to chew another bite of meat, and stop and don't eat again until you're really hungry. And just, I know it's hard, believe me, because I was all about the weight thing too. And it is a little disturbing to see like the scale stop or go up. Mine, I'll be honest, when I first started, my weight creeped up. So, and I still have not lost it. I'm not going to lie. So that is a little disturbing to me, but I also know that my body's done a lot of healing, and I'm not overeating. I'm just not. So it's not about that. So just kind of let your body do what it needs to do.
Yeah. Eating is now your job, and make sure that you keep it as meat, salt, and water, butter. Leave the dairy alone for the first 30, 90 days and give yourself a chance to succeed. Get yourself fat adapted.
And now dairy, somebody asked the question, do we have dairy? Okay. I started carnivore because I just did everything. I had a variety of meat. I did the dairy. I, did that all. And then I decided, what the heck, I'm just going to experiment, and I'm going to drop the dairy. And I did, and I had no issue with it, really. The only thing I had was occasional butter. And then, stupid me, I started drinking coffee back in October because of the whole pumpkin spice thing. Yeah. And I like cream in my coffee. And now I can't get rid of my cream. It's awful. I've cut it down drastically. And I actually had stopped drinking coffee altogether. And then this stupid coronavirus crap happened, and my stress level just went through the roof. And yeah, I kind of wanted my coffee. So yeah, so I'm back on the cream. It's not very much, but still, it is very addicting to some people. And I now know it's addicting for me, and that's going to have to go. Like I said, I've cut out most of it, and I don't do the whipped cream on top of my coffee like I used to do and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's addicting. Just be really careful about that. I know, but whatever. At this point, I'm like, if that's the worst thing I do is have 1 to 2 tablespoons of cream, whatever.
I am not thy conscience. I am just your friend. You choose to do that. I will sit here from afar, and unless you ask me what I think, I won't say a word. Holly,
I know what I need to do.
Holly K 211121 asks a question. Are we taking any extra vitamin D, They're out in the sun daily, but they're thinking they need more. I don't take any supplements of
I
any
don't either.
kind. I live in Northeast Florida. I'm out in the sun without a shirt on almost every day I can be. I have zero concerns with vitamin D whatsoever.
I don't take any supplementation, but to be honest, I'm not out in the sun like Brett is, and I probably do need more vitamin D. I don't know. I'm not suffering in any way and not having any effects. That may slap me here soon, but I mean, we are going into summer and I have a pool in the backyard, and if nothing else, that's where I'm going to be. So, I will be getting more, sun here soon, but for the time being, I'm not supplementing with anything.
We're getting great questions, folks. We appreciate
Yeah.
them. Keep them coming. Chipotle Chick says, what is your opinion on going back and forth between keto and carnivore? I will never, ever, ever do that because carnivore enables me to be sane, for me to not be clinically psychotic, depressed, anxious, the whole barrel of fun. So no, I don't see any real good reason to flip back and forth between them, to be honest, because if you reach an optimal state of health with carnivore, what is to be accomplished by going back to keto? I don't really grasp that. Amber?
Well, okay. My thought process is a little bit different. If that is what you really want to do, and you don't have like autoimmune issues or anything severe like Brett's, it's very important to him to stick with what he has. For me, it's really not, other than the fiber from the carbs hurts me, and I don't really care to deal with that. And so it's not appealing to me. So I would not do it. Now, if you're a person who doesn't really have like any issues that are, really aggravated by plant-based type foods that you will eat on keto, then, hey, if that makes you happy, that helps you stick with what you're doing and makes it sustainable for you and it's not hurting you, then, why not? I will never say that I think carnivore is the right diet for every single person on the planet. We are all very different and we have different needs at different times of our life. And you may one day find that you need to go completely carnivore. I choose to. I probably don't have to. Why suffer with bloat and gas and all that if I don't have to, when I don't really care enough? If I cared about something enough to warrant that, maybe I would, but I just don't care enough anymore. So I have no plans of eating keto as far as adding back in vegetables or something like that, or fruits. But, some people do just fine with that and they do great on keto. And, if you're having some kind of issue and then go carnivore for a while and then you feel like you're healed or whatever, then go back. I know people who do that and they seem to do just fine with it. So it's really up to your body and what you're willing to accept or what you need to make this lifestyle sustainable. That's my opinion.
Okay. Holly Ted asked a question. They said, hi guys, I've been carnivore for 4 months and my energy levels are really low the whole time. Any advice on how to improve that at all? I've tried vitamins, electrolytes, increasing fats, etc.
Oh.
Well, here, first off, stop taking vitamins, stop fooling with the electrolytes, and let's just follow the directions. Because I'm wondering if anybody's explaining the directions. It's real simple. I learned this from the Zeroing In on Health group, 10-year vets of this way of eating. And it's all I do is follow these directions. Only eat when you're hungry. When you're hungry, only eat meat until you're not another bite full. Only eat the meat you crave and can afford, and never, ever, ever put a sweet taste into your mouth. Now, have you been doing that for 30, 60, 90 days? For 4 months? Have you been following those directions to the letter? If you have, then you're just going to have to be patient. But if you haven't, I encourage you to do so. Amber?
Well, if you remember, I had that issue. I don't really know what the actual issue was, but it probably lasted a good, I don't know, 3 months, maybe even 4 months during that first phase. And I was keto 2 years before I ever transitioned. So it's not that I was having a carb issue or something, but, or I don't think so, because I was pretty low carb by the time I went over. So probably like, I don't know, 10 to 15 carbs a day total. So, I was pretty low. Anyway, I was kind of low energy, not horrible, but just I wasn't that woo I was on keto. And probably because of all the, the fat and all that, just really, I don't really know what it was. But I did notice that, but I can't tell you really what it was, other than I'm guessing it was just a transitional thing. But I have no proof.
Yeah, I would say it's a fat adaptation issue, and you may not be eating enough. That's why those directions those directions are so important. It's real simple. A lot of folks want to overthink it and complicate it and measure everything in its minutest form. And this is about going back to an ancestrally appropriate way of eating. And 100,000 years ago, we weren't measuring that kind of stuff. Now, were we?
Nope.
Somebody, she did keto, wants to know, do we use seasonings? I only cook with salt and butter. Go, Amber.
I do. I'm sorry. Or no, I'm actually not sorry. I do use seasoning. I'm big on seasoning. I'm limited on what I use. I will use the real salt seasoning blend, and also the paleo powder pink seasoning. No sugars in this, and it's limited spices. And I also have this one that from 𝒂𝒊𝒕𝒕𝒆. It's garlic and lemon, and there's no additives, no gross stuff in it, no sugar, no nothing like that. It's very limited ingredients too, and occasionally I will use that. But again, I'm very limited with what I do use, but I need my spices. Yeah, just even the smell of cooking meat without spices kind of turns me off. So don't know why.
Okay, Jason.art asks, do we drink wine? I don't drink any alcohol now, because I learned that when we drink alcohol, our body stops burning fat until the alcohol has been completely detoxified. And I believe it's crucial for my mental health for me to always be burning fat. I think that if my ketones drop, that's not good for me at all. So no, I don't drink. It's not, I'm a legal medical marijuana patient in the state of Florida. What do I need to drink for? Good.
Okay, well, I do not drink wine because for me it tastes like dirty socks. It's just gross. I don't drink it, and it gives me a headache. But I do drink alcohol on occasion, specifically when we would go out dancing, and my alcohol of choice is tequila and vodka. So, and so that I will drink that. And since this whole, forced quarantine crap happened, I really thought, oh God, I'm going to have to drink to get through this. But I haven't even had the desire really to drink. I've had like 2 minimal drinks through the whole entire thing. Or normally on weekends, I would have a couple of drinks on Friday and Saturday nights, 1 or 2 drinks, whatever. And here lately, just being at home, and I'm a social drinker apparently, because I just have no desire to sit around in the house and just drink. It's not appealing. But then again, this whole thing has got me not wanting anything. Like, I don't even care about food. I mean, I'm not saying I don't enjoy my steaks and stuff like that. I do. But if I didn't eat, I'd be okay. I mean, I could probably fast, because everything is kind of bland to me right now. Even alcohol,
Your stress level, your cortisol levels probably spiked a bit, my dear.
You
Definitely
think?
very sorry that you're so stressed.
Yeah.
Corky Maria asked, our thoughts on hair loss. Well, I'm not a big fan of it, but sometimes genetics are genetics, and you're doomed. And I was one of the doomed ones. My grandfather was on my mom's side was bowling head bald when he was 24 years old. I was just doomed.
Yeah, there are many different reasons that you can have hair loss. And was it a female who asked that?
I
Yeah.
believe so, yes.
Okay. Yeah. When I was keto, because I lost, I guess about like 70 pounds within like 8 months, and my hair started to shed. I mean, like major. I'm talking, and look at my hair. It's long, right? And it's kind of one of my vanities, I'll be honest. And I was freaking out. But this happened every single time I dieted, regardless of diet. If you lose any significant amount of weight, your body kind of goes, what the heck are you doing? And it will just shut off those, the hair follicles, because it's too worried about the emergency going on in your body. And it doesn't care about the outside. It doesn't care about your hair and your nails and all that. So it will just stop that. So that happens. It doesn't matter what diet. However, I will say this: if you are eating a good amount of protein, with your collagen, protein collagen, when your hair comes back, you will have the building blocks to make that come back in faster, better. But here's the thing, and this is something you really have to understand. Once your hair starts shedding, it's gonna do its cycle, and there's nothing you can do. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat your protein and maybe supplement with collagen or whatever, because that will only help once the cycle's done. But it's not going to stop it. It can't, because there is a cycle to it. So once it starts shedding, guess what? It's just going to happen. It sucks. It does. But it's happened to me every single time I've lost any significant weight. And then there's also, you have your hormones that can be affected. Like my daughter's going through this right now. I have almost a 15-month-old granddaughter. And my daughter is just now kind of, her hormones are kind of settling, and her hair starting to shed. And she's kind of like, oh my God, my hair. So hormones play a huge part in it. And it could be, if it's a menopausal thing, it could be after post-pregnancy. You have many different reasons. And then there's also some conditions too that you have to worry about. But if you're talking about weight loss significant, yeah, that's just kind of part of it, I'm afraid to say. For many people, not necessarily everybody, but
another one of those instances where you just got to trust your body and keep eating what you know is good for you, and be patient.
Yep.
Holly K says, Brett, I love your wife, not nearly as much as I do, and you have a good one there. That's correct. I agree. I do. Thank you very much.
Because she puts up with him. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. She put up with me when I was cool, and I wasn't much fun to be around. Let's see. So Holly K says her eyebrows are growing back. Great. And her fingernails are growing like crazy since Carnivore.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That happened to me too.
Fantastic. Great questions, everybody. I want to talk about one thing I got to experience since the last time we got together was I had to, right at the beginning of the coronavirus hysteria, I got a phone call from my mother saying, I need you to come help me take care of your dad for his last days, because she was physically unable to do so. And so I got to fly on a Sunday normally to go from Jacksonville to Huntington, West Virginia. It's just one stop in Charlotte, and you change planes and go. But oh no, I got the scenic route. I got to go from Jacksonville to Dallas, Fort Worth, then to Charlotte, then to West Virginia. And I wasn't worried. I wasn't panicked. I wasn't concerned about the virus catching it in any way, because I believe in my immune system and from this way of eating. I don't feel like I'm at risk. But I saw a lot of frightened people. But one thing I did that was really, really wise, and I actually have to give my awesome wife credit for this, because she said, you need to fix you a bunch of bacon and take it with you, because all the eateries were closed down. So I had over a pound of bacon with in my carry-on bag, and from Dallas, Fort Worth to Charlotte, I ate that. That was my lunch. And I didn't have any problems whatsoever. And on the way back, Charlotte, which is normally, a very busy hub, it was like a ghost town. And really, there were very few passengers, and mostly who you saw were airline personnel. But if you plan and you use your brains and think about this in advance, it's not hard to travel even now. And there's really, if you're in good physical condition, you're not obese, you don't suffer from some underlying condition, there's really nothing to fear. And Dr. Paul Saladino talks about that, and other folks have talked about it. Most of us are going to have already caught this virus, or we're going to catch it, and we won't even know we've had it.
Very
But it is doable, and I'll talk more about my trip here in a minute. I'll give Amber a chance to comment. What do you think about my traveling story, dear?
No, well, yeah, I don't have much to say because I've been in my house, and the most trip I've taken is next door. I haven't even gone to the grocery store or anything. My husband is the one that does all of that because we decided that one person should be designated for that. And so he's the one that goes out and picks up our food and goes grocery shopping and that kind of thing. So yeah, my trip is walking across my yard to my daughter's house and sitting in the driveway. So I don't really have much to say about that.
You're quite the gypsy, my dear.
I'm saying. But as far as being afraid, and no, I'm not. Not at all. I'm not saying I won't get it. I'm not saying it won't make me good and sick, but I don't fear it. If it happens, yeah, I'll probably be miserable for a little bit, but I don't fear it affecting me to the point where I'm not gonna, be okay or whatever. I don't have a reason like Brett did to travel. He kind of had a reason to go, to see his dad. I have not had that, reason to do that.
So speaking of dad, let's talk about type 2 diabetes. Because
yeah.
I got to see something. I got to see the end game of type 2 diabetes. I got to see it up close and personal, like from this far away. And, I wish I could have been able to afford to have had a camera crew. Not because I wanted to take advantage of my father's passing, no, but to make something good out of a horrendous situation. Because if we could scare one person into waking up, into ditching the disease management paradigm, it sure would be worth it, because the end game of type 2 diabetes is a horror show.
It is.
I watched my father's dementia just completely take him away his last couple of days. He had he might be there present, the real him, for maybe a second or two, and then he's gone again. And I can't imagine how horrifying that must have been for him. And even though we were medicating him, because this was home hospice, and that's one of the things about home hospice is you want to keep your loved one as comfortable as possible. But it was a horror show. And I'll tell you, if you're having issues with your sugar addiction, if you are finding because of this virus situation, you're wanting to cheat and consume garbage again, come talk to me in private, and I'll share with you some of the ugly specifics about what the end of your time is very possible to be. I'm not going to get into specifics now about it because I don't want to gross anybody out. And but I'm telling you, folks, sugar will kill you, and it won't kill you fast. It'll make you suffer in ways you never thought possible. And it's just not worth it. I mean, even more so now, even if I didn't have the risk of becoming a crazy man again, after what I've seen, there's no way on God's green earth that I'm consuming a single grain of sugar again willfully, because it's just not worth it. Thanks, I'm done.
Yeah, I kind of had a situation, or whatever you want to say, with my older cousin. He has been diabetic for a time now, type 2, and he's had quite a bit of issues. He's lost a couple of toes and has some kidney issues and is starting to have some heart issues. And I can remember at one Thanksgiving talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, I follow the ADA's guidelines. They allow me to have, this many carbs for each meal and this many for snacks." And I'm like, my eyes are like this, because at that time I didn't really get into all of that. And I was like, oh my God, you eat more in a day than I eat in a week. And that's when I was keto. I wasn't even carnivore. And I was just like floored. I'm like, because I knew enough at that point. I had done enough research to know what was going on there. I just didn't know much about, the whole ADA thing. And he was like, oh, no, it's all good, everything. And he had already had a toe amputated at that point. And I was just blown away, because he was even allowed to have desserts. I'm talking full blown desserts. I had made some keto desserts to bring there, but he wanted the real desserts. But I had him try the keto stuff so he could see it's not a big deal. It's pretty yummy stuff. So if nothing else, he could go keto, right? This is way before carnivore entered the picture. Anyway, he just, thought he was really doing well, and he stuck to those guidelines. He was really good about that. Well, when this whole pandemic thing happened, and they did the beginning of the quarantine where they started kicking people out of the hospital, he was in the hospital, and he had been in the hospital a couple of days. And my aunt had, and two of my aunts, well, his mother is one, was in the hospital with him, and they were updating us. And he has had to have his big toe amputated this time. You know what that does? Messes with your balance. You have to relearn how to walk. He's doing some therapy right now. And he was this close to needing dialysis. He was at 24% function. Well, yesterday I got a text from my stepmother saying that he's doing his feet are okay, because they were a little bit worried about the other one, having to do some stuff. I mean, he's had infections over and over again in his feet. I mean, bad. And I got an update saying that his feet look pretty good, and he's learning how to, walk without the big toe. And his kidney function has increased from 24 to 31%. And and they basically said that's about as good as it's going to get. So that was good news. Yeah. So I'm kind of going back to that, how much is that sugar worth in body parts?
And pain and misery.
Yeah,
and
because he was over
expense.
it. I called him in the hospital and talked to him, and he was so over it, because he's been in and out of the hospital. And during this whole thing where it was starting to get a little bit scary in the hospitals, and people were like, and all that, and he wanted out, but they had to keep doing tests on him and et cetera, and before they decided that his toe needed to go and that kind of thing. So, it's like he was at that point, he was like, just take whatever toes you need. I want to go home.
So sweetly broken asked, does diabetes cause dementia? And that's a great question. It contributes. What causes dementia is insulin resistance. The cells in our body, when there's too much insulin floating around in our blood, become resistant to allowing insulin into the cell. Well, our brains want glucose for energy primarily. Our brains will also burn ketones, but that not burning ketones will not cause dementia. Basically, the cells in the brain become unable or refuse to accept glucose because of insulin resistance, and the brain starves to death.
And the whole Alzheimer's being classified as type 3 diabetes.
That's exactly right. And, dementia, Alzheimer's, all all the same kind of brain deterioration and cognitive malfunction. It's a horror show. I'm telling you guys, you don't want dementia. You don't want Alzheimer's. You cannot imagine a more horrible way to live than to forget who you are.
Sad.
And then you come back to yourself just enough to realize that something's wrong, but you can't remember what's wrong. Maybe you can't remember even your children's names or who you're talking to. It's a horror show. You really don't want any part of it. You just don't. So please, if you've got sugar addiction issues and you're feeling the need to jump off the wagon and practice that addiction, look me up. You and I can talk. Maybe I can persuade you otherwise, because you don't want to suffer that way, the way my father did.
Mm.
You just don't.
Nope. It's
Yeah,
not
you're
worth
right.
it.
Silo nutrition, our brain needs fat. Exactly. Our
Yep.
brains need cholesterol. Our brains are made up of cholesterol. It's so true. And I tell you, talking about myths and these things that I got hit with yesterday on Twitter with somebody saying, well, what about your kidneys? Have you had your kidneys function tested? How well do you think you're doing?
I've got that too.
And, well, I feel incredible. And I just watched my dad die of end-stage renal disease. You were talking about kidney function. Dad found out in June of 2019 that his kidneys were only functioning at 11%.
Whoa.
And he didn't even last a year after that.
Whoa. I thought 24 was bad.
Dialysis only buys you a little time when you get down that low with kidney function. Your kidneys are not replaceable in that regard. Let's see what we're talking about here. So people were talking about oleopaths. I don't even know what an oleopath is. I never heard of that. Yeah, thank God for social media, because we're able to spread the truth. We're able to offer ourselves as examples that this way of eating really works. I mean, look at what it's done for Amber. The ketogenic diet, Amber was three different people. I mean, three people compressed into one frame there for the longest time. And you were so horribly sick and miserable.
Many, many, many years.
And keto got you 75, 80% of the way. And then carnivore healed you in ways you never even knew you were sick in.
Yeah, digestive wise, and helped clear up my rosacea.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Somebody says it sounds like sugar's the cause of all. It's a serious contributor.
Yeah.
It's
seed oils too.
Yeah, seed oils aren't helping us any, and the plants that we've been told to eat are just horrendous for us, especially nightshades. The more I learn about nightshades, the more I wish I'd have never eaten that first tomato or potato. Oh, we did too. I mean, well, we had a huge garden growing up. I think, did you all have a huge garden as well?
No, but we had tomatoes.
Yeah, that was common though. People might not grow a big garden, but they would grow tomato plants.
Yeah, because the one in the grocery store suck. So.
Well, they all suck now because we know what's in them. Somebody asked, is avocado oil okay? All right, listen, we're carnivores. Animal source food only, so sweetly broken. So,
well, if you're keto, yes, it's fine. But if you're asking specifically in the context of carnivore,
then no, there's no herd of avocados running around
with eyes.
Yeah, waiting to be harvested. Holly's bragging about her cattle being pasture raised and happy until the day they pass. Well, that's awesome. That means the meat is so much better and tender. And oh man.
Yeah.
Can we buy one of your cows, please? Just a quarter, because that's all I got room for. I don't have room for the whole cow.
I do. I do.
Oh, we're going to work on that though. That's a carnivore upgrade that we're going to hopefully complete this year.
I
Is
want to do that
have a little
soon.
bit. We're going to have a little electrical work done, and we've got a place that we're going to put a freezer, and we're going to look into buying a quarter of a cow and filling that sucker up with some really good meat. And Holly says maybe she'll send one for Christmas. We appreciate that.
Ooh.
We're not too proud to take gifts at Christmas time, especially when they're meat.
Meat. Yeah.
Well, listen, one thing and for real, all joking aside, about how I'm dealing with this crisis, it's been frustrating, but it hasn't been overwhelming. It hasn't been depressing. It hasn't been that horrible thing that it would have been 5 years ago if this had occurred.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
It would have been a horror show for me then. I'd be eating Ativan like candy just to keep myself together.
Be even worse for Danielle.
Oh, much worse for her. She would suffer just an awful, 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 awful nightmare. But I think, we talk about, we hear people talk about zero carb Zen. And I believe it's real. And I think it's been very much, even with what as awful as what was going on with my dad dying. This is not the end of the world. This is a normal part of life. It was sad. I saw some beautiful things, but it was very sad. But it wasn't
as bad as it could have been.
It's awful. I mean, I'll never forget, his last moments, and when you see your father, any loved one, right when they've passed away, it's not something that's pleasant at all. I can't say that death has looked beautiful to me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But that ZC Zen, that calmness, that clarity of thought, to be able to put things in their proper category and to grieve appropriately and not be overwhelmed. I think without the carnivore, I would not have been able to have helped my mother take care of my dad in any way, shape, or form. And I would have been a severe hindrance had I been there.
Yeah.
So another reason to be thankful that I was able to learn about this wonderful way of eating in time to be of assistance.
Yep.
And thank goodness for the weightlifting.
Yeah, it probably could have been a lot worse for me too, but it's affecting me, and I'm feeling a little bit of I hate to use the word depression because it's nothing compared to the depression that I've experienced before, but it just bums me out because, like I mentioned in a video I tend to see the world very colorfully, and I live in this happy little bubble. And when that little bubble is broke, I don't really like that. And now everything kind of seems dull, whether it be food, even, like I said, my desire for having a drink, even though it's not like I drink a lot. It's just everything is kind of shades of gray. It's just kind of dull to me because I feel like literally my freedom is being stripped away. And the thing that I look so forward to on the weekends, it's like that was our thing, going out dancing at our old dance hall. And then to know that there are so many people who are affected by this, losing their jobs, maybe losing their business, but are not be losing my dance halls because somebody is gonna get hurt over that one. But it's devastating, and that's where my issues are. It's not the fear or anything like that, but I mean, like Brett said, maybe it would have been worse before. I mean, I probably would have been just in tears the whole time because I don't like being told what to do, and I don't like, when I can't go do something I want to do. So yeah, it's really kind of, I feel like I'm being punished, like a little kid, for the greater good
Oh, I
because
hate
of
that
some
phrase.
idiot.
That phrase is just evil.
I know, I hate that too. Well, it's kind of like in the military, like the way they, train them or whatever. If one person gets in trouble, everybody gets in trouble. So if one person has to do, 500 push-ups, so is everybody else, because, it's for the greater good. It's a lesson or whatever. And I kind of feel like that. I'm sorry, but I do. And it aggravates me because, use some common sense. I mean, practice, precautions. But because there are some people who are just butt heads and licking stuff and, having big parties and stuff, we're all having to kind of, deal with that. But if you just kind of chilled and, stayed home more, maybe not got in big crowds and stuff like that, that's just common sense stuff. But unfortunately, because of a few people being stupid, it kind of affects us all. And yeah.
It's frustrating, but we're going to manage. I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do?
I am getting some stuff done. So I worked on my website, adding a carnivore section. I've kind of done some of that. I worked on getting my videos going again, which I had kind of slept off on because I was so busy, doing interviews and, stuff like that. So I am getting stuff done. It's just a little harder sometimes to get the motivation that I should have, that I would normally have. That whole thing, oh, if I just had the time. Yeah, guess what? I have the time, but my motivation is kind of so.
I'm just
but it's getting better. It's getting better.
I'm just now starting to get back into a little more creative way of thinking. That what I went through, I got hit with a double whammy. There's the stress of the virus hysteria nonsense, and then the deal with my dad was a very traumatic event. So that's why I minimal posting, just a few pictures, not trying to say much because I didn't want to be a downer to anybody.
Yeah.
Holly asked, how's my pup? How's your pup, Brett? Haven't seen him lately. He's doing fine. He walks 3 to 5 miles every week, and he's doing just fine. I was gone for a month, and so my son was walking him while I was in West Virginia, helping taking care of my dying father. We got about 4 minutes left. I want to thank you all. You all have asked some.
Well, don't forget, it took 5 minminutes for me to get on, so we actually have a few minutes more.
Okay. So
remember that it was I would say we've got
8 minutes tops.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
About 5 minutes. Yeah. And you know what happened with my pups?
Well, I wasn't going to bring that up.
Yeah. On top of everything else, I had to deal with both my dogs having major diarrhea, and one of them is old, and she's kind of having trouble really knowing that she needs to go. Oh, let me just tell you, the cleaning up I've had to do. So on top of the other stress, having to deal with cleaning up doggy doo-doo everywhere, it's not fun. But they're good now. They're all better now. I had no clue what happened. We weren't feeding them different. We didn't give them anything bad. They got into something. I don't know what. I don't know.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Shallow Nutrition asked if I have a website. Well, my wife does. It's called artlife.us. There's some links to some of the interviews I've done, and then there's links to some T-shirts, but she handles that. I don't really have a website. I've got Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and YouTube. Let's see. What do we do some days if you just can't stomach meat anymore? I have never experienced a day like that, and I've been living this way now for 634 days. I have not ever once felt like that, so I cannot honestly answer your question.
I haven't either, and it was a year for me in March. I've heard a few people say that, and actually my husband, he has to have variety, and I'm not talking variety of meat. And that he's to the point where he was always the meat lover, not me. And he's to the point now where he's like, oh God, I don't want to eat another thing of meat. And I'm like, what? So, there are some, I don't know.
I would suggest that you're not eating the meat you crave and can afford. If that happens, you're eating meat that you think you should be eating, not that you're craving. Shallow's asking, do we drink black coffee? Do I drink black? I don't drink any coffee. Black, white, orange, green, yellow. No, not a coffee drink. Never was a coffee drinker.
I don't like black. Nope.
Never was a coffee drinker. Coffee always just tore my stomach up. And now that I
was not either.
Now that I know what coffee really is, it's no surprise to me.
Yeah.
So no
Yeah.
coffee for this guy.
I'm gonna get rid of it because it just is a holding thing. Because I don't really like the coffee. I'll be honest with you. It's the cream I like. Yeah, I used to have like a little coffee with my cream, and I've really weaned that down a lot. But it's not the coffee I dig. I don't even care about the caffeine. I don't want it. I would prefer to have decaffeinated, but I like the flavored coffees, and they just don't really come in decaf very much, and that's aggravating. But whatever.
Oh my. You better be careful, dear. Your sugar addiction is going to jump up and bite you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why. But luckily, I haven't. It's just the 1 to 2 tablespoons of cream. That's it. But if it gets worse than that, it's got to go. Got to go.
You're walking a dangerous line, my dear.
Can be, but so far so good.
Get that message one morning saying, "Oh my God, you're not gonna believe what I did.
I drank the carton of cream.
I drank the
It
cream.
is addicting. I'll be
I had
honest
ice
with you.
cream, and now I can't stop. Help me." We don't want that.
No.
Somebody says, "What's wrong with coffee?" Well, first off, caffeine is a toxin, and then there's oxalates in coffee. So no, thank you. And it's also, someone says we're so disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not disciplined. I just don't want to be insane. See, for me, if I don't eat meat and drink water, I lose my mind. For real.
Yeah.
Genuine major depression with psychotic features.
Yeah, I don't have that issue, but I was a big sugar carb addict, and I have to be, careful with that. I've been able to, like when I go on cruises, I'll allow myself certain things, and it generally revolves around alcohol. And I'm not talking just a shot of tequila. I'm talking about, them really yummy drinks. So yeah, but I'm able to come back each time and go cold turkey on that. So I've not had an issue. But many people do, and maybe one of these times I will. I don't know. But so far I've been very lucky because I just don't normally care enough. It is just not a big deal to me. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So it's not really even a discipline thing. I just don't desire it. I don't care.
Somebody's asking supplements. I don't supplement anything.
Yeah, I don't either.
I use a little magnesium lotion on my ankles and on my feet at night before bedtime.
We have 1 minute 54 seconds left. They gave me a timer.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming out and hanging out with us. The great questions. Fantastic.
I know we missed some comments and questions. I'm so sorry. I kind of saw some.
Now, this is going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel tomorrow at KetovoreKast with a K. And, of course, it'll be up on Amber's story for 24 hours. Feel free to share it. And we'll see you. When do we have another video? Hopefully sooner than a month.
Yeah, we should be able to.
It all depends on, we've got things to do and people depending on us to do those things. So it's not because we don't like to make them. It's just time doesn't always permit it. Have a great night.
Thanks, guys. And yeah, my links are on my Instagram, my website. Somebody had asked about that. And we love y'all too. I saw a comment coming across there. So
thank you all very much. And remember, you've got something to be thankful for, my friends.
Bye, y'all.
Take care.